Ahoy there, YouTube! I'm back again today for another delicious Splinterlands list, and today I'm going to talk about the top 10 cards that are going to win you a lot of games. These are cards that I use personally, and I see people use all the time, that when you're first starting the game, are going to win a lot of cards for you. We're going to go over why they're so good, what they do, how much they cost, all that good stuff, but I'm going to start off with one of my favorite cards, and that's the Efrit Elder. This card right now costs 84 cents if you want to buy it. You can also rent it for relatively cheap as well. But it has one of the most unique special abilities in the game, which is the Last Stand ability. So it gains increased stats if it's the only monster on the team alive. And I think this is a fantastic card. Anytime you can use magic in your fire deck, it's really good because you can break the shield with everybody else. Then you can start getting on the inner squishies. But he's also a great backline tank. Everybody in the middle is going to be protected if they're attacking the backline, which is a very common tactic. 3 speed, which is pretty good, but once they're the last one left, they beef up. There's been so many games where things have looked really bad, and then they get in and they just start wiping people out, one-shotting people back to back to back. The Efrit Elder is a great card you need to add to your deck. Continuing onward, we have one of the more expensive cards that I'm going to put on the list. Because, yeah, you can spend thousands of dollars on the cards, but that's ridiculous. Every card on this list is going to be under $25, and most of them are going to be way cheaper than that. But this is the Mylor Crowling. This is a 3-cost summoner, and the big thing is it gives everybody the prickly special ability. And the prickly special ability is just massively popular right now. It's why, if you're at the lower ranks, you see the Cursewind Deku all the time, and another card we're going to talk about in a second. But this is great, especially at lower cost things, because you can put out a bunch of things that are just out there to get squashed, and they're going to be doing 2 damage. Not to mention, if they're fast, they're going to get another hit in. But Mylor Crowling, every time I face this card, I'm like, oh god, it's so cheesy, but it's an easy way to win the games, and you don't have to get a level 2 or level 3. That's the beauty of a card like this, is it's very situational, but it'll win you a lot of games. That's a Mylor Crowling. Definitely one I would at the very recommend at least renting a level 1 just to have in your back pocket for when you have that. And so level 1, 3D, say a day. Yeah, you might be better off just buying that one. But that's up to you. This is not investment advice, by the way. Continuing on, because we're just focusing on what cards I see people kicking butt, what I kick butt with. Anytime I have a snipe daily, I immediately go to my death deck because of the Magi Necrosi. Now, there's another snipe magic in there as well, a 3-cost one that everybody likes to use as well. But when you can combo both of them, let me tell you, when you're blasting people with 2 magic and 1 magic, whoo, it's disgusting. And then the other big thing I love about the Magi is he's got 4 speed, so he's getting off a shot quick. And there's been so many games where he gets off one of the first shots and it's like, okay, game over. Not to mention he has the camouflage ability, which means you put him in the back and it doesn't matter. He's going to be the last thing that's left alive unless there's like sparkler damage or something like that. Fantastic card. You can get one now for $2.10. And honestly, mine's a level 1. It's just fine at level 1. But getting that extra health at level 2 would be great as well. But a great card. Highly recommend the Magi Necrosi. Continuing onward with another card. Now this one is very obvious. This is the most popular card in all of Splinterlands. Go get yourself a level 1. It's totally worth it if you plan on playing this game and trying to win. That's the Furious Chicken. It'll cost you $20, but the bottom line is it is a 0-cost card, and you know about this card. I know about this card. It's fantastic. It blocks your backline. So let's say they got something big attacking your backline. You throw them in the backline, that Furious Chicken, which costs you absolutely nothing, just block one of their shots. You know, then if you have another 0 cost, which once again, we're going to lump this in together, but the Furious Chicken, $20, and the big thing here is it does not have a color, so you can play it pretty much whatever. A fantastic card. Fantastic card. And then we'll also mention these very briefly. The Torrent Fiend is the one I'm showing you right here, but there's one 0-cost legendary for every single color: red, green, blue, white, and I don't think there's one for dragon, though. But if you want to try and win and climb, they're worth their weight. It costs you about $5. It's not going to do anything except sit there and be a meat shield, but this is just a fantastic card. Not to mention, once you get the special conditions where like everyone gets sneak, and now this thing is getting a damage in. You're actually getting some value from no value. Those are must-have cards in my personal opinion right there. Continuing on with another card that I don't see used nearly enough, and I love this card. It's the Prismologist. You can go get yourself one for $1.70, or you can rent it for a pretty reasonable price. But it's a great backline light tank. It's got the 2 shield, the 4 health, so it's going to be pretty hefty, especially if you got something repairing your backline or healing armor or stuff like that. But the big special ability is the blast. And the most important thing is they have 3 damage, which means if you can combo this with the summoner, the starter summoner that gives you the +1, you're now dealing 4 face damage, but you're also dealing 2 sparkler side damage. So when you land your hit, you're essentially getting 6 damage across 2 different characters. You're breaking that second position shield. You're tearing them apart. This card just absolutely destroys. It's one of my favorite cards in the game. Cannot recommend it enough. The Prismologist. Go get yourself one. And then the force field, if you get it up to level 4, that's disgusting. It only takes damage from attacks with power 5+. Just gross. Great card, though. Next, speaking of great cards, one of the first cards I'd recommend getting in this game, 91 cents. Go get yourself a Sandworm. It's a generic, so it can be played, pretty much with any deck. And yes, it does have 1 speed. That's the big flaw. But 5 damage is just absolutely disgusting. And there is, I don't know if I put it on the list. I think this one I narrowly cut. There's the Gelatinous Ooze or whatever it's called. It's a 1-cost card that slows people down. That's also a generic. Highly recommend comboing those 2 cards together. But if you have the money, putting the Sandworm in the background, it just wrecks shop. Really fun card to use. And very effective. Moving on, Jijin Chihuahua. Highly recommend. It's got the Thorns, which once again, that's the meta right now at the lower levels because she's so good. 5 armor, 9 health, 2 damage, but more importantly, dealing 2 damage back with Thorns when she gets attacked. Just a smasher of a card. This should be one of the first cards, quite honestly. If you were just going to say, all right, I'm going to get 1 card, I'm going to spend $1, what would I get? I would recommend getting this card, this dragon. It's just so stinking good right now. Once again, moving on to another card, Ureus, and I love Ureus. At level 1, I love Ureus because it's a 3-cost, it's got the sneak, so it's hitting in the back line, but where Ureus really hits his stride when you get it to level 2, and then it starts to get 2 damage. You're getting a 3-cost, 2 damage backline hitter. It's got a shield. It's a little bit durable. A heck of a card, especially because nearly every color has a 3-cost backline sneak character. And when you can get a couple of those characters, you can really pick apart their backline pretty quickly. So I love you comboing Ureus, especially if you use it with like the Shark, which gives everybody +1 strength, which I don't know if it's on this list, but it's one of my favorite cards. It's more of I'd say a high skill card, and maybe I'll do another list pretty soon about some of my favorite high skill level cards where you really got to tinker with it and try and find your groove with the card. But Ureus is not one of those. It's a fantastic card. Highly recommend checking this one out. And it will set you back, I think it's like 50 cents, 49 cents right now. So it's not terribly priced at all. Continuing on to my personal favorite card in the whole game. This is the one I've played the most with. It'll cost you $3.92, but it will win you 392 matches, if not more. That is Grunt. He is an absolute monster smasher, beast of a creature. 3 damage, 3 speed, so he's hitting on a pretty routine basis. Does the double strike, so boom, shield. Now we're hitting the squishy parts. Everybody else is going to be able to wipe you off. And then when I get to your oh-so-delicious middle area in your back line, I just start going dead if you don't have shield. There's some great cards to combo with Grunt. Grunt is going to be one of the ones that I feature on one of the top 10 cards to combo with Grunt because I love Grunt. I could talk all day about Grunt. Fantastic card. Even at level 1, still great card. If you get him to level 4, don't even get me started. Trample. That's disgusting. Get yourself a Grunt. But keep your Grunt up and keep any of your green healers up with the Wood Nymph, which is the next card I'd recommend. It's going to cost you about $3.48 if you want to actually buy the thing. But the bottom line is, you're going to get low-cost games a lot in this. You know, the 15, the 25, the 20, that sort of thing. And, you know, one of the most popular cards in the game right now is the 6-cost green summoner who does 3 damage, or 2 or 3 damage. Especially if you hit the summer, you get 3 damage. And they also heal. But you can't always afford that. And so the Wood Nymph is the bargain bin version of it. But 2 health, 1 damage. But the bottom line is still healing. And it's healing at the 1 spot as well, which is where you really kind of want them to do that. Because hopefully they take the damage and then you heal them before the end of the round. So Wood Nymph is just a fantastic card, and I've won so much with it, especially when you combo her with the 6-cost healer I was talking about, and then you have double heals. You have double heals, and if you get the summoner that does magic, you essentially, she's doing 2 damage, he's doing 3 damage, you're healing your tank. It's glorious. It's one of my favorite. It's super powerful. Anywho, Wood Nymph, but the final card on the list is Brighton Bloom. Now, this one comes with an asterisk. If you are still working your way up to Bronze 2, this is one of the last cards that I would purchase. I would not purchase this cards until you're in Bronze 1 or Silver or going up. And the reason why is Brighton Bloom is the best card in the game for one very specific circumstance, which is when you get the Earthquake condition. When you get the Earthquake condition, that means that everybody is going to take 2 damage at the end of the round if they are not flying. And so this makes everyone on your team flying. So essentially, you put on this dragon, and then you just focus on putting out the best team you want to put out. Especially if you maybe think about what they're going to do, because they're probably going to be putting out flying creatures. Not to mention, you just go with Brighton Bloom, and then you just put out some stuff that's just some beefy tank. Just the kind of game where you're going to drag that game out. Because they're going to be taking 2 damage at the end of each round. And maybe they might have 3 or 4 floating characters, but they're still going to have 2 characters that probably aren't floating any given time. And that means those 2 characters are going to be gone, and then you're going to wipe out the rest of the team because you're just going to have the numbers. And Brighton Bloom, fantastic card. Not one of the first cards you should be buying, but once you get, this is why it's got the caveat. If you're already into Bronze 2 or higher, definitely one you should invest in, even just at level 1, because you're going to use it pretty much every time you get to that situation. But those are the top 10 cards that I would recommend you check out in Splinterlands that I think are going to help you win a lot of games. If you enjoyed this list, please be sure to click on that subscribe button down below. Also, consider joining my guild, Bowers Game Corner. Me and my kids are in it. It's a family-friendly guild. I'll ask you to get your dailies. That's about it, a couple times a week. I'll rent out cards, give advice. We do all sorts of cool stuff. But, thanks for your time, YouTube. Bye-bye.